Hello everyone, today I would like to discuss Martin Luther King Jr. I chose to pick King as my famous person who influenced society because of the role he played in the civil rights movement and how he taught people that there is no reason for violence in the world. First, I would like to begin with how King played a role in the civil rights movement. King played a part in many well-known civil rights movements in the 1950s and 1960s. For example, in 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, the boycott of the city buses, which was caused by the bus company's insistence that African Americans ride in the back seats only. King's support drew much attention to the cause and rallied many supporters even outside of the Montgomery area, which put pressure on the bus companies all over the South to examine their own rules and eventually to change them. King's prominence in the civil rights movement gained the respect of many political leaders and eventually gave him the potential power to enact major change. The bus boycott was one example of many situations where, under King's influence, the civil rights movement gained attention and respect, and was just one example of how King's vision changed the world. The next topic I would like to discuss is how King was very focused on nonviolence. A key part of King's vision, aside from the quest for racial equality, was the idea of nonviolence. He refused to use violence and violent actions in any of his protests, and taught his followers to do the same. Based on the principles of Gandhi, this factor of King's beliefs and behavior was a major influence on society at the time. Police forces didn't hesitate to use violence against demonstrators and protesters, but in the face of their quiet resistance, the overblown physical techniques of force and brutality lost their power. King was greatly responsible for passing the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act for African Americans in the mid-1960s. Both these acts literally changed American law so that African Americans could not be treated separately from whites. His victories here had major impact and are clear examples of how King's vision changed the world. In 1963, King gave his I Have a Dream speech. In this speech, King called for an end to racism in the United States. There were over 250,000 supporters of the civil rights that lined outside of the Lincoln Memorial, showing how much support there was for the cause. This was a defining moment of the American civil rights movement. A few years later, King was assassinated in 1968. With his death, the country lost not only a great leader, but a prominent person who had carried the power to change society for the better. The loss of King was a loss for all of the races. These are the reasons I believe Martin Luther King Jr. had a very big influence on society. That is still not finished, and we still continue to work towards that today. Thank you for your time.